Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take those dense stacks of articles and research and give you the absolute essential truth in about the time it takes to finally enjoy that cup of coffee. So today we have a really critical mission for every single business owner, every entrepreneur, anyone who relies on their website to make money. We're diving into the hidden truths behind why websites fail. And I don't mean like a big technical crash. I'm talking about the slow, expensive failure that happens behind the scenes long after you've signed off on the design. These are the issues that cost you thousands in wasted budget. They destroy your lead flow, and they can expose you to some really serious security breaches. Okay, let's unpack this. We're going to arm you with the knowledge to spot the three massive red flags that web designers often hide. We're focusing on what you need to demand before you hire anyone so you can protect your business for the long haul.
Yeah, and this is so vital because our sources all point to this thing we're calling the designer silence problem. Most agencies, I mean, even freelancers, they're incentivized to focus on the immediate win, right? That beautiful portfolio-worthy launch day. They'll prioritize how it looks over the long-term mechanics of what actually makes a business successful. So they make these critical compromises on performance or ownership or security.
Yeah.
And they just never explain those shortcuts to you.
Right.
If you're running a business, your website is your most valuable digital asset.
Yeah.
So knowledge is absolutely power here. Spotting these red flags moves you from being, just another client to being a strategic partner. It ensures your investment doesn't become this expensive liability down the road.
That is such a great way to frame it. I mean, think about it this way. A beautiful website that's structurally unsound. It's like buying a stunning, freshly painted house that's built on, like, shifting sand. It looks incredible on move-in day, but you just know it's going to fail later. And speaking of failure, have you ever been frustrated by a site that looked great at launch, but then it just slows down, it loses its snap, it gets clunky? Let us know in the comments below. We're about to explain exactly why that happens. So, red flag number one. They don't talk about performance. This is the surest warning sign that the designer is focused entirely on the surface level stuff, the visuals, and they're ignoring the engineering that's required to deliver actual results, actual revenue. If performance isn't part of that first conversation, you are headed for trouble.
What's fascinating here is that the sources repeatedly stress that performance isn't just like a nice to have. It's foundational. Speed isn't optional. It's essential for survival. A slow site does three devastating business-killing things. First, it actively kills your SEO rankings. Search engines will just demote sluggish pages.
Right.
Second, it destroys your conversions. Users will abandon slow-loading pages so fast. And third, it just erodes trust. It makes your brand look unprofessional and honestly frustrating.
And we're not just talking about, oh, it takes an extra second to load. We're talking about specific technical areas that have to be addressed. And if your designer ignores them, they are gambling with your SEO. You need to be hearing dedicated conversations around, yes, overall site speed, but also the quality of your hosting, image optimization, the caching strategy they're going to use, and the really important Google Core Web Vitals.
And just to clarify that jargon for you, Core Web Vitals are basically Google's measurement of user experience. We talk at LCP, largest contentful paint. That's just how long it takes for your main image or title to show up.
Okay.
Then there's CLS, cumulative layout shift. That's when the content on the page unexpectedly jumps around while it's loading. It's super annoying.
Oh, I hate that.
Everybody does. And Google uses these specific metrics as a ranking signal. So if your designer isn't optimizing for those, you lose ground to your faster competitors, instantly.
That's a key distinction. So speed isn't just about the user experience. It's a foundational SEO requirement that's dictated by the search engine itself. So what about caching strategy? Can you unpack that one for us?
Absolutely. So think of caching as creating a lightning-fast, stored copy of your site. When a user comes back to your page, the browser can just pull that fast copy instead of forcing the server to rebuild the whole site from scratch every single time. A good caching strategy is the difference between a reliable site and one that just bogs down under any kind of traffic.
So if you're looking at their pitch, we can actually translate some of the designer shortcuts they use into real-world warnings. What does this red flag actually sound like in a sales conversation?
Well, when you hear a designer say, "It'll look great, we use the latest templates," what they often mean is they're prioritizing visual complexity and completely ignoring performance. They're using these massive image sliders or bloated themes that look good, but they just crush your site speed.
Ouch. And the hosting thing is a huge one, right?
It is. Another classic one is, we'll use whatever shared hosting plan you have, or we'll get you the cheapest one. And what that translates to is, We don't care about the speed, uptime, or security of your digital storefront once we get paid. If
Wow.
your site's on some ultra-cheap, oversold hosting plan, it is going to fail. It's just a matter of time.
And if they say, we don't handle ongoing optimization, what they're really telling you is that once the site inevitably slows down, because all websites need tuning, it is entirely your expensive problem to go and fix. You'll have to hire someone else anyway.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, when they prioritize launch day, they are focused entirely on the moment they get paid, not the 3-year success cycle your business actually needs.
That is a perfect segue. It leads us straight into red flag number 2, lock-in. If performance is the first hidden cost, the second is all about control. This is the deliberate process where agencies create a system of dependency to make sure they get expensive recurring revenue from you for years.
This is maybe the most critical insight we got from the source material. It's about digital sovereignty. The reality is blunt. If you don't own your site, you don't own your business. You're essentially just renting your online presence from them.
Whoa.
It's a foundational issue. It means your entire digital future rests in their hands, not yours.
And they use these specific, sometimes deceptive tactics to make sure you're locked in. We
Right.
see agencies using proprietary website builders that are almost impossible to move. Or they control your domain, your hosting access.
Right.
They might restrict full admin access to the back end. Or they build the site using such complex, undocumented code that you have to call them for even the smallest text update.
And when you're trapped, the financial damage adds up so quickly. The hidden costs of lock-in are insidious. You'll see maintenance fees, soaring past $200 a month for basic updates that you or an employee should be able to handle in 5 minutes.
Wait, I have to pause you there. So if the designer owns the framework or the hosting and I want to leave them for a better agency, what happens? That $5,000 exit penalty you mentioned, is that like a legal thing? Or is it just the pure cost of dealing with their messy proprietary setup?
That is a great clarifying question, and it's often a bit of both. Sometimes, yeah, the contract will have an explicit exit fee, which feels like ransomware-style pricing just to get your own data back.
Unbelievable.
Other times, it's not a penalty. It's just the sheer labor cost for a new agency to untangle and migrate all their proprietary code, which can easily run $5,000 or more in just developer hours. Either way, you pay the price for having zero portability.
Zero portability. That's the key takeaway. You end up with zero control, meaning you can't make small changes without paying them, and you are 100% trapped. You paid for a website, but they kept the keys and the deed. It stops you from ever switching platforms or agencies without this massive financial hit. Have you ever felt held hostage by a platform or a designer? Like, you couldn't make a simple change without paying a huge fee. We really want to hear your stories in the comments, and this brings up a really important question. How do you actually ensure you have control over your digital future? To make sure you don't miss any of our strategies for navigating the digital world, please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube NCWEBDEV channel. Don't miss all the new stuff coming out as we release these deep dives. Okay, now that we've covered performance and the dangers of lock-in, let's move on to red flag number 3, security. If a designer is completely silent on security during your first conversations, that is arguably the most dangerous warning sign of all. It just means you're completely on your own.
Silence on security is just. It's professional negligence today. It really is. When we looked at the ignored security elements in the sources, we saw these clear, preventable pathways that hackers exploit. It starts with plugin vulnerabilities. Outdated or poorly coded plugins are the #1 entry point for attackers.
Right.
They also often skip fundamental admin protection. And this isn't just about weak passwords. It's about not implementing strong measures like two-factor authentication or enforcing limited user roles.
And the backups. You have to have a plan for when, not if, something goes wrong.
Exactly. A real backup strategy needs regular automated backups stored securely offsite. A backup that's on the same server as your website as well, it's useless if the whole server gets compromised.
Of course.
We also see improper SSL configuration, that's your basic HTTPS, and critically, they often omit a web application firewall or a WAF.
Can you use a quick analogy for the WAF? Because that sounds like complex jargon, but it feels really important.
Yeah, for sure. Think of a WAF as the digital bouncer for your website. It sits between the internet and your site, and it automatically analyzes all the incoming traffic and blocks, like 99% of common malicious attacks before they even reach your website's files. If your designer doesn't include a WAF, you are leaving the front door wide open.
And the consequences of ignoring all this are they're high stakes. It brings this abstract threat right to your bottom line. You could get malware injection, which steals data or redirects your visitors. You face form spam attacks that clog up your inbox.
Mm.
But the truly terrifying consequences involve legal liability. If you have customer data leaks, even just names and emails, you could face serious legal trouble. And of course, SEO blacklisting, where Google completely removes your site from search results because it's flagged as dangerous.
Yeah.
All of this means massive reputation damage and, worst of all, complete site loss if you don't have those crucial off-site backups.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, ignoring security doesn't just damage your website. It threatens your entire customer relationship, your legal standing, and your brand's reputation. You can't just buy a design and assume it's protected. Protection has to be intentionally built in and proactively maintained.
So we've covered the three massive red flags: silence on performance, deliberate lock-in, and ignoring security. Now, let's get to the solution. How do you protect your investment? You have to ask the right questions before you sign anything.
And we have to stress the importance of the designer's reaction here. The sources are so clear on this. If a designer hesitates, gets defensive, or gives you vague answers, that's your final warning sign. A true professional should welcome these questions. It proves you're a serious client who values long-term success.
Exactly. So let's lay out the 5 essential questions you need to ask, and you should ask them confidently. Number 1, for red flag number 1, performance. Speed optimization. Ask them, how will you specifically optimize the site for speed? What's your approach to getting excellent core web vital scores, and how will you monitor that after we launch? Number 2, hitting on lock-in. Ownership rights. Do I get full, unrestricted admin access and complete ownership of all the code and content? Can I take my site to another agency without penalties or any kind of proprietary lock-in?
Crucial.
Number 3, for security. Security and update plan. What is your security strategy? How do you handle regular off-site backups, vulnerability monitoring, and patching for the core platform, themes, and plugins? Number 4, which is also about lock-in. Hosting control. Will I have complete control over hosting choices, or do I have to use your platform? Can I switch hosts later without rebuilding the entire site? And finally, number 5, tying it all back to business goals. Success metrics. How will you measure success beyond just the visual design? What performance benchmarks like speed, conversion rates, or SEO health will you track for us? So what does this all mean? Demand detailed, confident answers. If they can't give them to you, just walk away. Your investment is too valuable.
You know, what really stands out here is that vetting a designer is less about reviewing their glossy portfolio and so much more about reviewing their business practices. Your website is your business's central hub. You just can't hand that power over to the wrong person.
That's so true.
The highest cost, ultimately, doesn't come from the initial design fee. It comes from the inability to evolve, to update, or to escape from their control down the road. That's really something for you to mull over as you vet your next partner.
Absolutely. Choose transparency, choose performance, and choose long-term success. And look, to help you put this knowledge into practice right now, we've created a free resource for you. The pinned comment below has a link to download our free website checklist guide. It'll help you score your own website's performance or vet potential designers with these 5 critical questions. Make smarter decisions. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.